don't know if this ever happened to you guys, but in my life of watching movies, well, I have been watching movies for a lot of times in my life, but there's always this one movie in theater that would always strike a chord with me, and it has this, and after a few days of watching it, there's this undescribable itch that urges my body to go and, spend the fucking ticket to just experience it again for like the second time or like the third time. I know the movie taste is different for a lot of people, and I know, for, other people's that, there are certain type of movies that, weren't really special to others, but for, some people, it really resonates with them. This phenomenon happened to me around like 2 years ago, I think, with, the new with the Spider-Man animated movie Across the Spider-Verse. I thought that was, just a brilliant piece of work, and I wouldn't mind, like, paying the full price of a ticket nowadays to just like watch it again or to relive it again. Now, keep to note in mind that movie tickets are, well, they're not, let's just say they're not expensive, right? But they're certainly not cheap. So there's a level of consideration here when you go to the movies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but like, for like the scenario, for the situation like the Spider-Man movie, I watched it around like 6 times. I have not regretted it. Some people, told me that, okay, you're actually wasting time here. Like, why would you want to relive it for like the sixth time or the fifth time you watch it? I don't know what to say to you, man. It just something happens to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it probably happens to some people watching this video too, I think. And I'm pretty ashamed to tell you all about this, but today it kicks it in for me with that Chainsaw Man movie. Like the new one that is still releasing on theaters. Well, it hasn't been released on some of the countries all over the world, like the U.S. It hasn't released in the U.S. yet. But it did release for like a couple of weeks here in Vietnam, and I've been watching. I've already watched it. I did like a review of it like about a week ago. Hey, future does hears. I just want to clarify that I did the recording of this video like about a week ago, but I just kind of forgot that it exists in my folder, so that's why I forgot to like do the video and post this on YouTube. So sorry about that, guys. But anyway, enjoy the video. Now, this video is not something special. I'm gonna add a little bit more to the general overview of that previous video I did about Chainsaw Man. And I was talking about more of the details that I kind of noticed within experiencing the movie again for the second time. And yeah, and because of the nature of this video is just kind of me glazing it. Or it's just gushing grannies about it. This video is gonna be like a huge on spoilers for everybody. If you're not afraid of spoilers, you can watch this video, and if you don't like spoilers, just turn this off. I'm not gonna force anybody to watch it. Or if you want like a general sense of what the movie is about, you can go watch the previous video that I did. Now that that's out of the way, I'm just gonna go straight into it. Of one of the main reasons that I wanted to make this video in the first place is I just adore and I just absolutely love the new main villain that they introduced in this movie, which is Reze. It's because it has in the title itself, the Reze arc. But I was not. Now here's the thing: I was not fully aware of their game. All right, like the studio, the Mappa Studio game here. The first time watching it, I thought Reze was good. They did her justice. Her presence on screen was absolutely adorable in a lot of sense. But after I re-experience it, oh my god, she is just so much more alive than I thought I was imagined it. Like going from like the beginning of the movie to like the very end, she feels like a real human person being. I just can't grasp by how amazing she is by her presence on screen. Now going back to the criticism I made with the last video about how this Reze character is not on screen a lot. She doesn't have a lot of screen time. Well, they did her justice, but she hasn't that much of a character development, or there's like certain backstories to fill in the blank here. That I thought, now that I watch it again, that criticism is just, I'm gonna throw away out of the window, because we definitely don't need like a backstory to tell the audience who she is, because there's this very, because all of the personality traits, or like some of the information about her that we needed to know is already there. Like like the thing about her character is like a full package, like, already in the movie. Like, we don't need more of that. I got into the point where I kind of fell in love with the character. I thought she was like the perfect girlfriend. Well, when we're talking about it, well, she might kill you in some sense, but I'm not. Damn, I'm not beating the allegations here. Holy fuck. I am a long time anime fan. I think like back then I have, when I was a kid, I kind of developed feelings for for these fictional characters. But as time goes on, growing up, I don't have that shit anymore. I just toss it out, in the garbage can or something like that. But and when it comes to this movie, like, holy shit, I can't help but to feel so much for the character. Like, I have so much affection to this Reze character. Like, holy fuck. Yep. It is, like, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Now, I have talked about this before in my previous video that was kind of like praising how much good it is about the animation, the art, and like this approach to the stylistic cinematography in that movie, and and they cooked it into this beautiful stew. I wanted to add more that I think this is like the very sole reason why like the characters, or like some of the moments in there, felt so much more alive and hit so much with me in a lot of ways. And there were like some additional scenes where I thought it was so amazing to watch, and kind of like an interesting to figure it out. For example, in like the pool scene, which is I think I think it is the most beautiful moments in the movie. I gotta tell you, it is absolute cinema. What I can describe here as the other thing that they did with this particular style is that some of the scenes that they did, it was kind of like a reference to one of those like horror animes you see like a Junji Ito style, where the shading on the faces of the characters looks different, and it's just adds up so much more to the atmosphere of that particular scene, which I thought that was so eye candy to watch. They did the moments right. They did the horror right. They did the suspense right. It was chef's kiss. You know what I'm saying? Other things that I seem to notice here by how they animate the character movements, they are very similar by how we use our body languages in real life. For instances, where Reze character jumps into the pool, and she bursts out the water. She's kind of like fixing her hair and then just slightly touching her nose. Or the other example is this Angel character. He was eating ice cream. When he gets to the end of the best part of the ice cream, where he starts to biting off and licking around the cone a little bit. Like, that is very closely how we function in real life. I thought that was very cool to watch. Like, this is just like, that detail is just cherry on top of a cake. I don't know if I tiptoe around the story a little bit in my previous video, but what I wanted to talk about now is I just love the way how they told the story through like a message of like another short story here about how the city rats and the country rats came to be, and we sort of see like the ideologies of these characters came to be, and there's certain conflicts to it, which is adds up so much more depth to the whole thing itself. I'm gonna explain here a little bit about the city rats and the country rats. Message here is that, you know, the city rats, you get to enjoy this glamorous life in the city, but there are an uncertain amount of dangers lurks around the corner, and you don't know if you're gonna die or not. And when it comes to the country rat, you know, you get to live in this peaceful life, but you don't, you know, got the opportunity to live, you know, glamorously in the city life. Just like, you know, you don't get to live in Night City in Cyberpunk. So that's the context there, and we kind of get to see this conflicts, you know, not being told verbally, but they were expressed, you know, through the cinematography like so well. I remember this one scene where, you know, Denji and Reise after the pool scene, where they, you know, where there was rain and they had to be stuck in the school for some time. You know, when, you know, they were discussing this topic, the story about the city rats and the country rats. You know, and we can see that kind of conflict through the two different style of like lighting. You know, where Denji is, you know, facing the window, the lighting is kind of like in front of his face. You know, he prefers the city life more than the country life, the more peaceful life. Where Reise is like the opposite. So the lighting is behind her head and not really straight into her face. So there's a different feel for these two characters, even though they were, you know, kind of like on the same vibe here. Like, that's how you tell a interesting level of depth story without, you know, giving out that much. There's a very intricate level of subtext here that is underlying around the certain scenes itself. I thought that was so brilliant. Like, it brings so much more in terms of like cinematic value. It is just one of many examples that there's these things kind of happens around the scenes. You know, this applies to like Aki, the Angel Devil, and stuff like that. Also, I seem to notice that there's a very noticeable level of contrast between the very beginning and the end. You know, in the beginning, Reise was supposed to be like this fake romance interest to Denji. You know, she's on a mission trying to take Denji's heart for her, you know, to complete the mission. But in the end, ironically, she's head over heels for him, because there was this really brief moment, you know, when she's trying to escape from everything. She gave out the donations and received a flower that is similar to the flowers that Denji gave her in the beginning, but with like different colors. They gave out Denji and Reise gave out donations to the same spot, but there are two different colors of the flowers here. The white one in the beginning, I think it expressed like the innocence and like the you know, chemistry between the two characters, and like in the end where the flower is red, and it you know, it means that true love, or like the height of romance. And I thought that was just so cool, man. I am speechless. I am in awe by how much that it says to you, but it doesn't really need to be directly saying it to you. Final thing that I wanted to add here is the fight scenes. You know, aside from the beautiful animations, you know, Mappa being Mappa, they cooked so hard with this one. But the reason why I never felt never bored the whole way through is that, you know, there's this seamlessly tone shifts to the fight sequences itself. You know, from the beginning where we see you know, Denji kind of realized Reise was the bomb devil, until like the middle part, you know, where, you know, they shift around into this very creative silliness, goofiness, and creative ways to fight, which is, you know, just, you know, awesome to watch. It is so fun to watch that. And then this shift also shifts that into where somewhere in the end, where they choreographed the fight into like this very, you know, poetic, very beautiful like dance between the characters. and I thought that was so good. Big props to that. There's so much more that I wanted to say. Obviously I don't want to drag this video out for too long. It will be if we're going to do it, it's gonna be like a lot of hours, but I'm gonna just stop yapping here. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say in this video. That's about it. I'll see you guys later.